So I've been on AliExpress a lot lately, grabbing parts for recent and upcoming videos. Subscribe to catch those, by the way. And while loading up my cart, I came across this little device, which is called the SD2SP2, which is essentially a micro SD card slot adapter that connects to the Serial Port 2 under your GameCube, if your GameCube has that port, which not all do. And this really caught my eye because if I can play files off of a micro SD card on my GameCube, that means I can play virtually any of my GameCube games off of a single micro SD card without having to load up the discs and just scroll through a list of them. I can load up homebrew, I can load up emulators, and I can even enable the use of the Game Boy player, even though the disc that activates mine has been long lost. I quickly checked my GameCube, and sure enough, it is a blessed version that has the Serial Port 2 underneath, so into my cart that little adapter went. I splurged the extra $1 and bought the version that has a disc because my GameCube does not have a mod chip, and I plan to keep it that way. A few weeks of waiting later,
hello darkness, my old friend,
the package arrived and it was time to try it out. I installed the adapter into the bottom of the GameCube, popped in a random micro SD for testing, put in the disc, loaded it up, and got a nice disk read error. This was disappointing, but I kind of expected the disc to be trash as I saw other reviews from people saying that the disc was blank. I don't think this disc is actually blank. I think it is a burned copy meant to run on a mod-chipped GameCube, and so the files only work if Nintendo's official detectors have been bypassed. But that wasn't going to stop me. I immediately found one of the few sources of information for this little device. Thank you, Reddit. And most folks seem to get this working with either an ActionReplay disc or an SD media launcher, which were both third-party discs that were available during the GameCube's run. One of those in combination with a memory card to SD card adapter should be able to get our little device up and go. Thankfully, I happened to blindly toss the memory card to SD card adapter into that same AliExpress cart while I was browsing, thinking that it would let me move save files between systems, so now all I needed was the ActionReplay disc. Right? A quick look at eBay revealed that these are pretty rare to find now that most people realize that these can be used to run custom code on a GameCube without modding it, which is pretty nice to do, so the prices for these are definitely higher than when they were originally sold in stores. I wasn't thrilled by that price tag, and I thought I'd do a Hail Mary and check my local marketplace, and boy did I luck out. There was someone 20 minutes from my house who had just posted a disc for about 40 Canadian dollars, read not 90 American dollars, so you better believe I locked that down quick. Finally, I had an ActionReplay disc, the memory card adapter, and the SD2SP2, so you'd think I could finally load up the Switch launcher and start doing some cool stuff with this GameCube, right? And the answer was not quite, because apparently for an SD card to work in the memory card adapter, it needs to be an ancient SD card. Like, before they printed SDHC on the memory card, it has to just be SD card, so it can be no bigger than like 1, maybe 2 gigabytes. It has to be slow as you can possibly find, and unfortunately I did not have that lying around the house. To add to the difficulty, the memory card adapter that I bought is for micro SD cards, and so it's even harder to find a slow old micro SD card since these are newer than the overall SD card spec. So I was forced to turn back to AliExpress and buy this $4 micro SD card, which is 1 gigabyte in size, made by Cloud Disk, and I knew it was a winner because there was even a comment on the posting from someone that said, "This worked for my Game Boy Advance flash cart," so thank you, Kindred Spirit, for lighting the path. After another round of waiting for shipping, it finally arrived, and it was time to put the Swiss files on the micro SD card, put it into the memory card adapter, put that in the GameCube, put in the ActionReplay, install the SD2SP2 into the bottom with a micro SD card of my choosing inside with a ROM file for testing, boot it up, and yes, we're finally in the Swiss launcher for GameCube, enabling us to do what we want to do. Swiss immediately picked up the SD2SP2 adapter. Man, that acronym is getting really clunky to say. And straight away it listed the games and homebrew I had on that SD card, and all I had to do was scroll down to what I wanted to open, hit A, and it booted up right away with no issue. By the way, I did learn the hard way that the SD2SP2 adapter needs to have the micro SD card formatted to FAT32 in a certain way, so I'll leave the steps that I followed in the description, make it easy for you to find them, but long story short, it needs to be formatted in a very specific way, otherwise it will not play ball. Now that our mod chip free mod is rocking, there's nothing left to do but play Melee in its original glory. If there's anything else you want to see this GameCube setup do, or if there's another 2000s gaming hack you want to see covered, please leave a comment below, subscribe to help out the channel, and I'll see you next week. Now that our non-modded GameCube mod setup is going, nope, not using that.